Chapter 141, Wiped Out 2. Thank you, Eilist. Hedgen found it a little difficult to say those words, but he felt relaxed after saying them. Ilgo, Thesis, truly mysterious. He's that powerful with just a few balls. The second-year students below the stage exploded. Don't underestimate Zutui. His strength should be a little stronger than what he shows. His control of the silver pill was extremely agile. It was not enough to describe how he controlled it. If any of you want to fight, you must be mentally prepared. He-Jin stepped down from the stage and summarized the situation for the students. On the side, Kai Hongying looked at He-Jin, who had left the stage, with a look of disdain. Weakling, what's the point of summarizing? In my opinion, those in the top 20 of the Longhu list are all weaklings in front of Zutui. You're ranked 18th now. What about you? Chai Zhao, who was a weakling, felt a little uncomfortable. Kai Hongying glared at him. A weakling who can last a little longer, all right? Then the two of us are really a pair of weaklings. Chai Zhao smiled and quietly wrapped his arms around Kai Hongying's waist. However, Kai Hongying pushed him away. There are so many people. What are you doing? Kaixio was immediately amused. Then there aren't many people at night. Scram! This time, there was no need for Zhong Ziking to use his maxed-out provocation skill. The next second-year senior of the Longhu list was already on the stage. To the second-year students on the Longhu list, challenging Zutun at this moment was no longer purely for the sake of maintaining their reputation. It was also because they wanted to gain some fame. It was for experience and to train themselves. They had almost fought all the students from the mystery branch. Fire, lightning, plants, radiation, and so on. They had all fought their fellow students from the mystery branch who could hypnotize them. However, they had never fought someone like Zutui, who had only used his mind power to control the silver pills. It wasn't that there weren't any. There were a few second-year students in the School of Enlightened Mind who used their mind power to control silver pills or even small swords. However, those people were not on the same level as Zutui. Their speed, lethality, and accuracy were all far inferior. At this moment, the strength that Zutui had displayed had successfully piqued their interest. The Longhu list was not just a list of benefits that could be obtained by occupying a position. It was also a combat exercise list. It allowed them to encounter all kinds of strange abilities and tactics while learning. In the future, when they walked onto the battlefield, this would be the foundation of their survival. Such opportunities were rare. In the future, when Zutui was on the Longhu list, they might not be qualified to challenge Zutui. Such an opportunity could only be chanced upon by luck. In an instant, more and more second-year students went up the stage to fight. This was because some of the members who were ranked higher than them had already stepped onto the stage. Many of the members on the Longhu list who had missed the opportunity cried out in regret. After all, if they fought more battles like this, they would have a higher chance of surviving or winning if they encountered similar enemies in the future. To put it simply, Zutui had become an experience bag in the hearts of the second-year students on the Longhu list. They had to farm experience bags, regardless of victory or defeat. The ranking of the second-year students on the Longhu list who went up the stage to challenge rose very quickly. Many of the top-ranked members of the Longhu list were already starting to worry. How long could Zutui's mind power last under such a tag-team battle? They would not have a chance if Zutui exhausted his mind power. The 12th challenger directly ended the chances of many second-year students who wanted to challenge him. Wang Kia, ranked 29th on the year to Longhu list. Wang Kia, who had been dismissive of Zutui's challenge just now, took the initiative to go on stage. Zutui, I have indeed underestimated you. You do have the right to challenge me. Wang Kia went on stage and apologized to Zutui. It's alright, it's a normal reaction. It's not too late for us to fight again, Zutui said. Do you need to rest? Wang Kia asked when he saw that Zutui had already fought 12 battles in a row. Not at the moment. The previous 12 matches had consumed very little of Zutui's mind power. He had only consumed less than a quarter of his mind power. Compared to Kai Hongying, who had been sparring with Zutui, they were all weaklings. Get ready, Start. Wuxia had clearly learned his lesson from the failure of the students in front of him. When faced with Zutui's attack, he did not advance but approached slowly. He observed his surroundings and listened carefully. He did not relax just because he had repelled or dodged Zutui's silver pill attack. He had been on full alert, but he had only managed to get 5 meters closer to Zutui in a minute. He managed to reach Zutun and could attack him at any time. However, Wuxia was not careless at all. The threat of the 3 silver pills circling around him was too great. Suddenly, the moment Wuxia's stiletto forced 2 of Zutui's silver pills to retreat, Wuxia's stiletto suddenly pierced through the air. He slashed out with his stiletto at lightning speed. Sizzle! There was a slightly ear-piercing sound of collision. Wuxia's stiletto accurately hit the alloy silver pill that Zutui had used to attack his lower body. What was worse was that it was hit by the blade. Zutui's alloy silver pill was split in half by Wuxia. The moment the alloy silver pill was split open, an inexplicable explosive pain surged through Zutui's head. It was as if more than 10 needles were stabbing his head at the same time. The piercing pain caused his mind power to slow down. The other 2 alloy silver pills that were circling and dancing also trembled for a moment. Zutui knew very well that this was the mind power backlash that Zhaoxi had specially instructed him to be careful of. If an item attached to mind power was directly cut through, it would cause a certain degree of backlash to the user's mind power. He had to pay attention to this moment, because this moment might be the moment of life and death for the user. Wuxia, who was in the middle of a battle, had accurately captured Zutui's abnormal behavior. He immediately realized that this was his chance to win. He instantly charged forward and swung his stiletto at Zutui. Zhang Ziking, who was in the corner of the arena, widened his eyes and covered his mouth tightly. He was afraid that his warning would affect Zutui. Below the stage, only Kai Hongying and Chai Zhao were not nervous. They did not even look up. Suddenly, Wuxia felt as if he had slipped. He suddenly fell to the ground and the military knife in his hand fell uncontrollably. He hugged his head and curled up into a ball. He let out an unconscious scream. The students watching the battle were all stunned. At this moment, even the top 10 second-year students on the Longhu list, led by Kuishi, suddenly stood up and looked at Wuxia's situation from afar. The teacher on duty was anxious. He glared at Zutun and quickly went to check on Wuxia. Zutui, a first-year student, was a ruthless person. He could hurt people without a trace. The teacher on duty heaved a sigh of relief when he checked on Wuxia's condition. However, the way he looked at Zutui had clearly changed. He only suffered a mental attack and suffered some mental damage. "He'll be fine after resting for a while," the teacher on duty said. "Zutui, you are from the School of Enlightened Mind. Who is your teacher?" the teacher on duty suddenly asked. "Teacher, my teacher is Professor Zhaoxi." The teacher on duty was stunned. "FCAC, why didn't you say so? If you had told me earlier that you were an Zhaoxiu's student, I would have asked someone to take over my shift." Although there were not many people in Zhaoxiu's faction, they often had invisible means of killing. Ordinary teachers like them could not defend against them. Fortunately, he looked fine at the moment. Nothing major had happened. About a minute later, Wuxia got up. However, his gaze towards Zutui was filled with fear. The students watching below the stage were stunned again. A mental attack. Damn it, there was really a freak who could directly attack with mind power. Only Kai Hongying and Chai Zhao were still munching on melon seeds with disdain. They were freaking scared just like that. This was Zutui's most ordinary mental whip. If Zutui used his enhanced version of the mental whip, Wuxia would definitely go into shock and be sent to the emergency room. Not far away, the members of the Tiger Board gathered around Kuishi, the second-year Tiger. Tao Guan, who was ranked 7th on the Longhu list, stood up. "Brother Kui, this Zutui actually knows how to use mental attacks. Based on this situation, if we don't take action, I'm afraid that he will sweep through the second-year Longhu list. Should I go over and fight him?"